Good morning, should I say. Good morning. I'm always in the evening working. Um, well, you see the title of this. Have the Democrats and Republicans left this country down? Left, have they let this country down? Um, do we need a new system? Do we need a third party? Do we need a people party, a real people party? Is the question. Um, for the most part, I think both the Democrats and Republicans are basically on some BS, to be honest with you. Um, they're, they come into Washington, and I see it all the time because I live there. They come into Washington D.C. They promise their constituents, uh, wherever respective, you know, city or state they're from, that they're going to come in with fresh ideas. They're going to be movers and shakers. They're going to shake up Washington. They're going to work for the people. You hear all this, right? You hear this every time they get elected. Every time they go into a campaign, they promise the moon, pretty much. They promise they're going to get this done with your help. If you put me in office, if you put me in office, uh, if you help me get elected, I will work for you tirelessly and effortlessly. And it seems like that never happens. Um, Now, sometimes they get voted out. Sometimes they don't stay in there that long because the simple fact is they haven't made enough impact uh, when they was there. And so they get voted out. Some last, like you got Mitch McConnell. Uh, he's in the Senate, but you have these junior senators and you have these junior congressmen, these representatives in the House. And they promise the world, folks. They promise you, oh, we're going to clean Washington. Now, what Donald Trump said, he's going to drain the swamp. He was more, instead of draining the swamp, he was actually contributing to the swamp even more. It made it even more vile and dangerous and contentious. Um, so we saw Donald Trump come in his 4 years, and basically, what did he do? Um, okay, let's give him credit for maybe the stock market being healthy, the economy thriving a little bit. But what did he actually do? He signed a bunch of executive orders. He reversed a lot of stuff that Obama did. That's what presidents do. They wipe out whatever the previous administration has done, and they reverse it uh, to show their supporters. See, we got rid of that, and that's an old trick. It really is an old trick um, because they're not really doing anything but just they're still campaigning. But when you get into the meat and potatoes of the politics, these people have ideas that they know they're not going to get passed. I mean, what Donald Trump got? He got the corporations and big billionaires a tax break. That's his claim to fame, really. If you look at any legislation that he passed, that was it. The rest of it was just a bunch of hope, bunch of hopeful ideas that never came into existence. Uh, Same thing with Obama. He had a lot of change was the message. His campaign message was the slogan, change. But what did he actually change? Okay, we gave him credit for the health care. This country didn't have a health care bill or health care piece of legislation. They all talked about it. I remember vividly. Uh, Hillary Clinton was in charge of putting together health care, and she didn't never got off the ground. It never got off the ground, never, let alone never got on the runway. So they all come in with these grandiose ideas, and they get on their soapbox, and they're going to champion for the people who got them in the White House all the time. They know they don't really have what it takes to do that, uh, because it takes the other party to somewhat be on board of it. When the Republicans are running the White House, if they got a Republican president and they might have the Senate or they don't have the House, there's always going to bump heads. There's always going to be conflict because these people really are playing games. And, with the PAC money that they get for being in candidates and stuff like that, everybody plays games. You know who suffer? The people, the middle class, the poor people. They suffer. And the billionaires continue to thrive in this country because obviously they have the wealth and they're in positions to kind of lobby for certain things that they feel strongly for, and able to tie up government because they got a lot of these political um, senators and congresswomen and congressmen. They have a lot of them in their pocket. That's just not even sugarcoated. A lot of these so-called politicians are bought and paid for by these corporations. And so we can sit here and we wonder, and it's almost like why do we keep wondering what's going on when we already know we don't want to pay attention to what's going on? And the reason why we don't want to pay attention to what's going on is because we put our trust in the political system that it would straighten itself out. Well, it's not. It's broken. Since Reagan left office, what major accomplishments? There's been a little. There's been little to almost no uh, activity. You don't have an immigration bill. You don't have anything. You don't have a uh, immigration ID bill. There's always issues. You have the border. Donald Trump said he wanted to build a wall. You have the people that are concerned about the border, the securities at the border, uh, people, the jobs in real estate. I mean, the country, the gas prices is ridiculous. I paid almost $70 for 11 gallons of gas yesterday. I had to pay premium, um, and I took a snapshot of that, and I was like, where are we going? What are we doing? And I get it. The supply line is botched up because of COVID-19. The last 3 years, the COVID era is still there's still remnants. It's still out there, people. So just continue to mask up if you're not vaccinated, and even if you are vaccinated, continue to wear your mask because you just never know. That, but I digress. I don't want to go into that bag. But again, uh, COVID and the supply line, and now we're looking at we're pretty much going to go into a recession. I think that's pretty evident. Uh, and still, you have a lot of these politicians, you know, are still kind of clueless as to, they got all these great ideas, but it's just grandstanding at this point. I'm a Democrat. I'm a registered Democrat, but I'm not in harmony with my party. To be honest with you, I'm not. There's a lot of people there that's in that party that they have their own agenda. They really do. I won't mention no names, but I think you pretty much can get a gist of the idea. Everyone, uh, like I said, they talk a good game. They come to Washington, do a lot of press conferences. They like to be on the media. They like to make their rounds on the different news outlets. These, Fox News, MSNBC, CNN, headline news, and even come on the CNBC. Uh, talk about the stock market and this is what we need to do, and that's what we need to do. But the bottom line is this: the country is always going to be run by billionaires because they got people in their pockets. They have police, they have judges, they have even other heads of corporations in their pocket, the elites. And so when what the elites uh, dictate is how your political officials going to move. They dictate how they move, and they give you a bunch of malarkey about. They kind of throw you off the go, off the ball. They kind of do this three-card Marley, so to speak. But at the same time, we need to really um, stay plugged into what's going on. I really suggest that everybody kind of stay plugged in. But you can't even believe all the news out here because it's a lot of fake news. I hate to use that term, but that's one thing I can agree on with President Trump. It's a lot of fake news, and on both sides. So where do we go? Where do we go as a people? Where do we go as far as we got primaries going on as we speak. Uh, Most people think that the Republicans will probably take the House and the Senate back in the midterms. I've been telling people since Biden got elected, you have to pay attention to the midterms. You can't be in celebrative mode. You can't be in celebratory mode all the time like you wasn't with Obama. With Obama, all you did was celebrate. Oh, the first black president. Oh, the first African American president. Ooh, we. And for 4 years, maybe 6 years, people are still celebrating his victory. And it wasn't really paying attention to the economy. It wasn't paying attention to people who were just getting by, who were scraping by just to make things, make ends meet. And but we keep focusing on the stupid stuff. We keep focusing on, um, you know, almost like soap opera. It gets to a point where you know the news outlets, conservative and uh, liberal outlets, news outlets, is really focusing on dividing people up. You know, they say if it bleeds, it leads. Well, dividing people, dividing the country is what the ratings dictate now. Anything for division. Yeah, they'll say, we want people to stay together. We want people to come together as one country. And that ship has sailed. That ship has sailed. We might be on the verge of a civil war if we're not paying attention. 50% of the country disagree with the other part of the country. 50% of the country, and when you have that type of conflict, and you have that type of um, situation, then what can you do? So everyone has to be on board. Everyone has to kind of be paying attention, man. And they make it complicated, but it really is not complicated. Like my mom used to always say, stuff is not complicated if you pay attention. It's only complicated when uh, you don't pay attention, and then you're trying to figure it out. Then you're figuring out what's going on. You're trying to figure out uh, why are you paying $6 a gallon at the gas at the pump. So this is just straight talk, man. This is just me as a citizen in this country. And then you have the race issue. You have racism. That's always going to continue in America. They thrive on racism. We thrive on it because, like I said, division. Um, a lot of people of the um, Caucasian people feel that for some odd reason they feel like they're being left out. For some odd reason, they feel like uh, America is not paying attention to them anymore, and you know, we're going to take up any type of resistance that we can. We're gonna you know close ranks, and anyone who doesn't look like us or who's not down with us, they're going to be the enemy. And so that's been going on for since I was a kid, and it will continue to go on because racism actually makes a lot of money in this country. People don't, I'm just one of the people that acknowledges it. Racism divides people, it makes a lot of money. You know, now you have the Second Amendment that's being Second Amendment is being uh, you know challenged in the degree that you have mass shootings. Well, the mass shootings only come about when you just have your head in the sand. What does the average citizen need? What Why do they need a AR-15 or AK-47 or whatever assault rifle you know, that might be trending? Why? And how do all the criminals get guns? How do all the criminals happen to have? I mean, they just had something in Mochella in Washington D.C. where this is a big concert. It's kind of a loose kind of thing concert. You have the go-go bands that kind of on 14th and U they go out and they played, and you had gun violence there, where a 15-year-old teenager was shot and killed, and a couple of people injured, a few people injured. And so, how do the criminals and how these young people, like in these, you see in Chicago, you see in Florida, you see in Washington D.C., you see in New York, you see in California, Dallas, all throughout the country. How do these gang members and these criminals have guns so readily available to them? You don't think that there's a bigger plan going on? You don't see that? You can't put that together? That they want the guns in certain people's hands? How does all these expensive firearms and guns and Glocks and these are expensive weapons? These things cost like $700, $1,000 a handgun. How do they just fall in neighborhoods, like poor economic neighborhoods like or the ghetto or the hood, whatever one you want to call them? How do they just continue to just get into 15 and 16-year-old hands? Pay attention. Pay attention. It's by design. You can't tell me. You cannot tell me anything different. It's by design. I don't need to try to strategize why it's by design or break down why it's by design. That takes, look, you want to go into those little, mess around into that little, genre. Why is it available? Why are these guns readily available? But they seem to always be readily available. I remember stories of people, were saying that government officers of the law was dropping guns in the neighborhood. You understand what I'm saying? You know, sh- you got one street a block over. You got street crews and gang members fighting over turf they don't own. In the fashionable word now, it's ops. You have ops over a block away, and they're young. These teenagers are young. They're trying to they're trying to get some type of credibility, street credibility, and they go out here and they do all this stuff. They shoot up the block. They shoot everywhere you at. Uh, you had the situation what happened in Buffalo where a teenager or 19-year-old was able to get his hands. Well, actually, his parents bought him the gun, bought him the rifle. And he goes on social media, Twitch, and broadcasts live of executing people, random people, black people in the parking lot. And he walks into the store and does the same thing. Then he comes across a Caucasian like himself, and he tells him sorry and commits to continue to go out and shoot people and kill people. So, you got people like that being activated. They're being activated, and I say activated. They go on social media. They get the battery in their back, so to speak, and then they get urged on, and they have chats. And when the FBI really comes, if they share the information with you, because they like to bury a lot of information. They like to bury a lot of information. They like to think that oh no, that didn't happen. Well, it did happen. We know it happens. Okay, we know it happens. You got white supremacist groups that's out here actively planning on targeting Jews, people of color, blacks, homosexuals, gay people, stuff like that. Um, Muslims and Jewish people, anybody who don't look like them, or anybody who don't have their ideals. You see what happened in January 6th, 2020, 2021. You saw what happened there. Yet we still trying to figure out as the president Trump, former President Trump, um, how much did he knew and what, as far as who's going to get arrested. We can have all these hearings, all these congressional hearings about January 6th, argue about who can we question, who can we bring in, and we go back and forth about the Constitution, this, that, and the other. Well, that's, it's an elaborate show. This is once again, this grandstanding. You have a attorney general that seems to be weak. I mean, I can't he's a weak guy. So I won't even mention his name. He's just, what's the point? He's just an invisible man at this point. All he does when I see him in public is shed tears and cry. That's all I see him do. His voice is cracked. He's not strong. He just comes off weak to me, and that's how he comes off. It could be totally opposite, but he comes off. He's not telling me what I need to hear. Why is it taking so long to bring charges against someone that obviously allowed and encouraged a mob of his supporters to attack the Capitol, where 7 people died? We're playing politics with it again. So this is just who we are as a country. We don't care. We allow the politicians to dictate our lives, to dictate what's going to happen to us, and as far as what we can get, as far as assistance, as far as anything, life assistance, as far as the country being in a better shape. So you still have the billionaires out here. You got billionaires that won't even show up for an oversight hearing. Washington Commanders on the Dan Snyder. He just said, "Oh, I'm not showing up." So this is where we at. When you have the rich people. When I'm talking about the rich people, they do what they want to do. And the Republicans and the Democrats are bought and sold by the billionaires. You see when you have these mass shootings, in particular in places, people who look like me, of a darker hue, you have the same old cronies that come up after the shooting and want to dictate and want to march and they want to, assist the family. And that's all well and good if they're sincere about it. But a lot of times it's not. They're not sincere. They want a bag. That's their hustle. That's their hustle. Everybody has a hustle. Everyone is hustling out here, Everyone is hustling. I come up here and I rant sometimes because I feel I have to say something. Uh, but at the same time, I'm trying to wake people up as to see what's going on and stop uh, falling. Get out the slumber and wake up. You know, don't expect your local politician to do anything for you. They're not going to do it. They're going to talk a good game when it's hot, when it becomes a story that they can get on camera with their nice suits and ties and stuff like that, and they could talk eloquently, and have all these $1 million words when they're describing what they're going to do and how we're going to come together as a community. They don't do anything. All we do is have visuals and sing church hymns. That's what we do. But your main ops, if I can use that word, know that's what you're going to do. They know to ride it out. They can weather the storm for about 2 weeks. And then we're back to don't care anymore. Well, that story was hot for a few minutes and stuff for a couple of days. Now we're back to normal. So it is what it is. And I don't know what to tell people. I tell people to wake up, make sure you do what you have to do to take care of your family. Vote on the local government. Be involved in your local government because that's where it counts. That's when you can make the greater impact if you don't like what's going on, especially with your police department, your sheriff department, your local judges and DAs and so forth. You can really make a difference there. Can't rely on the United States, the president to do anything. They're not gonna do it. What is Biden doing? What is he doing? He's too old. I hate to say it though. He's too old. Trump's too old. You want a bunch of 80-year-old presidents? It's time to get the youth involved with the politics. It's time. We went to Obama in his 40s, and then we go back to an 80-year-old president, 70-year-old presidents. What are we doing? Trump's a madman. Biden is incoherent. What are we doing? What are we doing? Relying on 70-year-old men to try to lead you into the future. It's goofy, man. It really is. It really is goofy. It's goofy. And your religion leaders are just as worse. They use religion to try to sell you anything, man. They're gonna say this is under God wants you to do this and God wants you to do that. I suggest your relationship with God, you keep it with yourself and don't let somebody else try to dictate you. It's okay to have some type of guidance and spiritual leaders, but a lot of these people, man, I'm telling you, you got to read the Bible for yourself. You got to read the Quran for yourself. You have to read the Torah for yourself, and whatever religion that you're into. Make some sense out of it. How does it incorporate in your lifestyle? How does it help you? How does it get you by? If it helps you and get you by, then continue to do what you have to do because it's you need that extra spiritual motivation, but you always should question uh, the agenda of others who are trying to tell you uh, as far as your spiritual journey what to do. Always question it because you definitely don't want to be led astray, right? You want to stay consistent, and that's how you stay consistent. Well, that's enough for me. I thank you for coming in. I know I rambled a lot, but it's just something that was on my mind. I just want to get some things off my mind. And I appreciate you guys taking time out to come in. Please like and subscribe to the Vanguardian News channel. Share this video, share this live. I'm going to be doing more lives than just normally how I do it, but please just continue to share this. Hit the like button, share, subscribe to the channel. Peace.